Stan and I we're gonna have a little debate here. And I bring this up because last year I said this about Caleb Williams. And I got accused of being some things that I am not. And I still stand by what I said. And I've talked to Bears fans who actually agreed with me last year. So, but I think I could be swayed still, but I think that the New York Giants need to consider benching Jaxson Dart for the rest of the season. Now, same as I said with Caleb Williams, it is not because I necessarily think he's bad. Actually, I love Jaxson Dart. I think Jaxson Dart's a fun player. I think he's a great player. I think he's going to be awesome for this league. I think if the Giants build around him correctly, he's going to be a big part of the franchise for a long time. That being said, he has played in 7 games? And he's been in the concussion protocol 4 times. And he's missing on Sunday because of a concussion. Jameis Winston is starting for him. My concern, and as it was with Caleb Williams, do you want to set your quarterback back in already have 4 potential concussions? I think we only have 1 diagnosed, but still, being in the protocol 4 times in 7 games, that's bad, obviously. Cam Scadabaugh's already out for the year. Darius Slayton is out for who knows how long. Malik Neighbors is out for the year. I mean, the Giants aren't going to, do anything playoff-wise this year. We know that. I guess I don't see the point of having Jaxson Dart out there. You know that Jaxson Dart is going to be your franchise guy. You know what you have in him. I just don't want to see him get hurt and, potentially what happens. I said this with Caleb Williams. Again, it's the exact same point, just with a new guy. What happens if Jaxson Dart, gets hurt week 15 and then you lose it and it's a bad injury and you lose him for half of next season? So, Stan, I know you disagree with that, but I want to hear your points.
Yeah, a couple of notes on that. I mean, I'd start by just asking, when it comes to injuries, it's not something you could predict so much, right? And with Jaxson Dart, it's more, in my opinion, it's more so because of his play style being somewhat of a reckless player, similar to Scadabaugh, where that I think is what's leading to the issues here. So coach him differently. His OC is now his head coach. Coach him differently, but don't take him out of the games for a couple of reasons. One is that I don't think it helps his development. Even if it doesn't hamper it, I don't think it's going to help it. With the concussions, you get concussions in practice. You get concussions from all types of things. I got a concussion because I dropped a picture frame up there on my head, right? Like things like that happen all the time. My point is you can't bench the kid who wants to play. Jaxson Dart wants to be on the field. You can't hamper his development by taking him out for all of this time.
Okay, yeah.
And my a second follow-up point is there's a reason why no franchises do this. Why don't the Titans just bench Cam Ward? They'll get a better draft pick. They'll do they're going to win just as many games by benching him. Why don't they bench Cam Ward? I think it's you got to keep your best players on the field. Let them play it out. And there also is something to be said about more film on Jaxson Dart, more film on any of these guys. What it does is if they're good enough, it leads to you getting better free agents. We've seen this time and time again. There's different tiers of free agents. You're going to have the top 3 or 4 are going to try to go for the max contracts in the wide receiver room, let's say, right? Then you have the bottom guys who they're going to go on the prove-it deals. But in the middle there, that's where you find your value. That's where you get, your pieces who are going to be your wide receiver 3, 4, 2, fill out most of your roster. And those guys are going to look for teams they could win at. That's what we've seen time and time again. So if you have Jaxson Dart and you could win 2, 3 more games on this season, you could put some better tape out there, and you can give the kid who wants to play more time to do that, more time to feel the NFL, to get used to the speed of the game. I think that's only a good thing. Now, if he gets injured, again, it's just such an unpredictable thing. I think you just have to work more with how he plays. I would try to get him in one of those concussion caps, but I have a feeling he's going to say no to that. Though, yeah, just change the way he plays, change the way you treat that playbook rather than take him out of the games. I think taking him out could only hinder his development.
Yeah. So okay, sorry. I was picturing you trying to hang a picture frame over your head on like a ladder in almost like a Three Stooges situation where it's real shaky, and that image made me chuckle. But yeah, I get what you're saying, and I do understand that argument. I think that the pushback I would have about Cam Ward is I don't know that the Tennessee Titans. I mean, obviously they drafted him first overall. They're going to give him as many chances as possible. But I don't know that we are as certain about what Cam Ward is as we are about what Jaxson Dart is. Cam Ward has an interception problem. Cam Ward, he presumably will be the future of the franchise. I do like Cam Ward, but he still has things to work on. So does Jaxson Dart. But Jaxson Dart, I feel like we can more for certain say the New York Giants are going to build around Jaxson Dart. He is the future of this team. Cam Ward, I feel like could still be in that Anthony Richardson type conversation where he's a super athletic player, super gifted physically player, but doesn't quite, understand the game at the NFL level. I hope not. I hope Cam Ward, balls out next season or the rest of this season, but we aren't as certain about that. And I love Jaxson Dart, and I think to your point of getting as much film on him, maybe changing his playing style to be more safe, I think that's all good points. But also, what about your point last week where you said, there's the potential that Jaxson Dart could have 3 coaches in 2 seasons? Do you want him to go through that change? If we're talking about changing his playing style, you go from Brian Dable to Mike Kafka to whoever they hire next year. If it's not Mike Kafka, that could hamper it as well. So maybe benching him now could, kind of hold that back a little bit or prevent that from being as confusing.
I mean, if they don't start him, it's not like he's not going to be learning the same playbooks and practicing the same plays and getting ready to be on the field, let alone the fact that he wants to be out there. He wants to play. So I don't think that really makes as much of a difference. But going back to the first thing you said he played something like 7 games and has been on the concussion protocol 4 times. That is an issue that is going to affect his career no matter what. He has to change the way he plays if he's going to get beyond his rookie contract, right? No one who is getting on your concussion protocol, half of their games is going to have a decent career in the NFL. Right? And concussions too, every time you get one, it means you have a higher chance of getting one in the future, and it means the ones in the future are going to be worse, right? That's an issue that compounds on itself. So I think it is a very important thing. If the Giants want to make a push next year, want to get, whichever head coach they want in, and be able to make that jump, because they're not a very far off team the way that roster is constructed from being able to compete. So they're going to want to make that push ASAP. Jaxson Dart's current play style is not conducive towards making that push. It's not conducive towards a playoff run, let alone being able to have a career with the Giants. So you need to get him out there because you have to find out what works for Jaxson Dart. How can we utilize his skills, utilize his physicality, but not lead to him getting on the concussion protocol every other week? That's a very important question. I think we need to, look at it in that context.
So what would you tell him if you were the coach? Like, would you tell him to not run the ball as much? Would you tell him to throw the ball away more? What would your ideas be to prevent that?
I mean, I think it's more about scheme than anything else. I don't really have any, I don't know the answer. No one's been paying me millions of dollars to figure that out. But I don't know. I think it comes down to him as a player. The thing about Joe Burrow, right? Joe Burrow had a big issue with getting hits in, the first 2 years of his career? Maybe just the first year. But I remember that being an issue, big issue his rookie year. But now it's not nearly as much of an issue. So whatever they did with Joe Burrow, maybe you look into that and try to find ways for him to avoid the hard hits.
Okay, yeah, I like Jaxson Dart. He was my favorite quarterback coming into the draft. He's fun to watch. Part of it's because of the reasons that we've been saying he needs to do less of. with his playing style. But I love the Giants rookie class. I think they've got a lot of great players. I just want to see Jaxson Dart have a long career. So I guess that's part of my concern. We'll see what happens. Jameis Winston, real quick, what do you think? What version of Jameis Winston do you predict we are going to get on Sunday against the Packers?
Well, he's going to be fun, as he always is, and he's probably going to throw a couple picks and a few touchdowns. He has a pretty tough room he's working with. You know, you talked about the injuries to that wide receiver room, so it's not the best situation for him in that sense. But like Jameis Winston, at the very least, he's a very exciting player to watch every single game.
Theo Johnson about to go off, but let's move on. Let me know your thoughts down below about Jaxson Dart being benched. I'll put this into I'll probably clip this video. So let me know down below what you think about Jaxson Dart. Should he be benched for the rest of the season? Should he not? Be nicer than some of you were with the Caleb Williams thing. Hurt my feelings a little bit. No, I don't care. But moving on.